Beethoven composed his Piano Sonata No. 1 in F minor, Op.2 No.1, in 1795, dedicating it to Joseph Haydn. It was published in 1796 alongside his second and third piano sonatas. This inaugural sonata, a bold statement from the young composer, showcases the structural elegance of Mozart and the meticulous motivic development of Haydn, while also asserting Beethoven's individualistic spirit and foreshadowing the Romantic era's expressive dominance. Defying convention, Beethoven expands the traditional three-movement format to four, incorporating a minuet typically reserved for symphonic or chamber works. This brooding, technically demanding sonata challenges the prevailing taste for light-hearted entertainment. Before we begin our analysis, let's do a sonata form overview. The sonata form consists of three sections. The first section is called the exposition. It introduces the main theme in the home key. It's then followed by a connecting episode, a second theme in a related key, typically contrasting the first theme, and closing material. The next section is the development. This expands and sequences the thematic material, modulating away from the original key, and then eventually back towards the home key. The final section is the recapitulation, where the main theme is restated in the home key, followed by a connecting episode, and the second theme, which is also now in the home key, and optionally ends with a coda. A great composer plants all the motivic seeds at the beginning of a composition, allowing them to develop throughout, creating unity within the piece. Beethoven plants these seeds in the first 8 bars, using contrast, development, sequencing, and modulation to grow them. The unifying components of the sonata are arpeggios. The main theme features a rising arpeggio, while the second theme features a descending arpeggio. Notice how after each arpeggio in both themes, a dotted quarter note with an eighth note ends or rounds out the theme. Another component that unifies this piece, the 3 notes that lead up to a strong beat. We can see this in measure 2, with an F minor chord leading to a 5-6-5 chord, with 3 quarter notes leading to the downbeat. Also, in measure 2, we can see the 16th note triplets leading to a strong beat. Next, in measure 26, 3 eighth notes leading to a strong beat. Another component are the pickups and the stress on weak beats. Both themes begin on a quarter note pickup, and dynamic swells from piano to forte are used throughout, especially on the weak beats. Another component to look for are the 2-note slurs, which are stated first in measure 8, and are developed and expanded upon in the development section starting in measure 89. Next is a descending scale in measure 7 is expanded upon in the second theme. And finally, the ambiguous nature of the tonal center found between the end of the main theme and the beginning of the connecting episode is used in the pickup note of the second theme and further elaborated in the development section. Let's start our analysis of the main theme. The ascending arpeggio, known as the Mannheim rocket, is stated twice, once in the tonic and once in the dominant. This subject is reiterated and shortened until it reaches a climactic half cadence in measure 8, concluding the main theme. Beethoven uses parallel keys without transitioning chords, evident in measure 8 through 9, where the connecting episode begins in C minor, blurring the tonal center expected in F minor. In measure 11, the 4-6-4 chord acts as a pivot chord to modulate to A flat major, using material from the first theme with 16th note triplets. Measure 15 introduces a descending line stressing beat 2, establishing E flat as the dominant, reaching a half cadence in measure 20 with oscillating E flat octave tremolos. There is no pause between the closing material and the second theme, unlike in Mozart's sonatas. The second theme, expected to be in A flat major, begins with an F flat, blurring the tonal center. The use of the pedal point of E flat creates dissonance with the descending arpeggio outlining a 5-9 chord. The only resolution and stating of A flat comes briefly with the use of the cadential 6-4 chord. The theme continues to develop, adding tension until measure 33, where a descending scale outlines a chord progression of 1 to 2 to 5. This descending scale is the blossoming of the seed planted back in measure 7. In measure 41, at the beginning of the closing section, the root position 1 chord is briefly established, followed by a 7 of 5, suggesting A flat minor. The rhythmic motif of a dotted quarter note and eighth notes reappears, with offbeat chords in the left hand, concluding with a 5-7 to 1 chord progression, albeit not a perfect authentic cadence due to the use of a pedal point of the A flat in the 5-7 chord. We finally enter the development section, and in this section, the material is manipulated and sequenced. It begins with a quarter note pickup in A flat major, where the main theme is stated in 3-bar phrases. In measure 54, a German augmented 6 chord appears, recurring throughout the movement as a precursor to pivot chords, or an actual pivot chord, muddying the tonal center. In measure 53, the 7-6-5 chord leads to B flat minor, introducing the second theme without connecting material. By measure 62, a German augmented 6 chord modulates to C minor. The theme is restated in C minor using the 5-9 chord and a brief cadential 6-4 chord. At the end of measure 67, the second theme plays in the bass, while the right hand outlines the chords, developing until measure 76, where a pivot chord leads to a half cadence in measure 89. From measure 81 onward, a C pedal point transitions back to the main theme in measure 101. Finally, we reach the recapitulation, where the material from the exposition returns with minor changes. Beethoven uses the recapitulation section to resolve a lot of the tension that was set up in the exposition. The offbeat accented quarter note chords are resolved, we can see in measure 105 and 106, with firm forzando chords on the strong beat. Another resolution is the resolution of the half cadence at the end of the first theme, where we land on a C major chord, and this connecting episode starts in what we would expect an F minor chord. Another resolution is the second theme being in the home key, with the theme starting with a note that is diatonic, unlike the F flat in the exposition. Before the closing material enters, we can see the measure before, a return of that 3-note motif where C is played in the bass. The movement finally comes to an end in the coda, where accented offbeat chords firmly and finally establish F minor as tonic with our first perfect authentic cadence. Let's take a listen with all these things in mind. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to check out some of our other videos. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to be up to date with our newest videos. Thank you.